I got off the track today with Jazzy Judy, and I was pumped. She went a big mile, won her qualifier by 5 lengths, looked very, very strong. I was getting ready to. I had qualified, obviously. That's my girl. Right after that, she was awesome too. 58 and 3, last half 56 and a bit. I was getting ready to call Jim King, talk to him about what took place with West 52nd yesterday, what his thoughts and plans were, to let him know that Jazzy Judy was ready to go. And I also knew that we had a number of horses qualifying in Ontario. Now, to be fair, knowing that a lot of them were Harry's, knowing that a lot of them were coming off extended layoffs, regardless of how fast they'd been, I knew they were probably going to go an easy mile today, and I don't really think I conveyed that properly to everybody. So let me unpack what took place today. First off, these are very important points. When we go to a qualifier, it's because there's races coming up, right? We qualify the horse. We're looking to set up a path forward for that horse to race. Now, the unique situation we're in Ontario is there is no racing for 17 more days. So regardless of how slow or how fast you went today, you are not going to be able to compete in Ontario for 17 days. Secondly, the competition itself in a qualifier can be looked at two ways. Now, I approach our qualifiers as commercials. This is the work we've done. This is a culmination of it. Now, that's really meaningless because you can pitch the qualifier out because really what we're after is racing, right? We're after getting our horses to the races and seeing how they can do against different competition. Third thing that went on today, especially with a horse, say like Adrenaline Rush. One, if you take him off the gate, he's not going to try hard. Two, I instructed Chris Rogers to go a mile in 58 or 59 with him, even though he had qualified in 50 or trained in 56. There was no need to continue to push and push and push. We used this week for horses like Adrenaline Rush to back them up a little bit. Next week, I expect him to go 54, 55 in his qualifier. Now, therein lies the problem. The first part of what I said was the Chris Rogers part. Chris Rogers is a nice guy, trained some horses for us, had his license for a while, maybe 10, 20 years ago, wanted to get his license back so he could race his own horse this summer, his own horse. Of course, the guy works for us. We're going to give him a couple of drives. He went with First Glance. Same thing, go 58. He got away at the back, went where he was supposed to go. It didn't look very enthusiastic. It didn't look like a great mile for our horses, but at the same time, we are in a position where today meant nothing. So for the people that went out in 53, 54, great. I might have been one of them had I been in Ontario. But that is the issue at hand, is the cultural difference between the way I may approach qualifying and the way Harry does. That doesn't mean that one way or another is right. You may have been upset from what you saw today, but you shouldn't be. You're only upset because we have been starved for racing for so long. You just wanted to see your horses on TV in any official capacity go out and go a good mile. I get that. But that isn't where we need to be. The reason I went hard with Jazzy Judy today is because she's going to requalify next week. If she requalifies as well as I assume, she's going to race once and then go to Delaware. She needs to be on top of her game. She has 6 races this year. 6 stake races again. An elimination and a second elimination in Delaware at Harrington, and a final for 100, 20, 100. She has to do the same again in Dover later on in the summer. She has to be ready. This would be us prepping our horses for the Hambletonian or the North American Cup. But in Delaware, this is the biggest race for Jazzy Judy's life. One of 2 series coming up on the 16th of June. She has to be ready. Therefore, she was. That's my girl was ready. She raced. Made a break in Indiana, coming off a qualifier in 59. What I wanted to do with her today was race her from off the pace, and I did. She qualified great. But that is not Ontario right now. The stake races we were to be in have been pushed back. They're all shuffled back. Nothing is coming up. Although we are going to race on the 17th, it will not be in a stake race. And Harry knows that you only have so many races in a horse, especially a rookie or a sophomore. You're not going to have, this is what we talked about with One My Heart Hanover. It is concerning that she has 14 or 15 races going into her June staking. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. You only have so many races. So This year has really thrown a wrench into everything. One, My Heart Hanover was supposed to race to, into March or into February, March, take a break. Everything was screwed up. We kept racing her because I wasn't sure she was a stake horse. What the hell are we going to rest her for if she's not stake caliber? Looks like she is now, so good for her. But you can't go forever. You can't burn the wick at both ends. And for Harry, you guys know Harry's easy on the horses. Harry's belief, and Harry is the epitome of an old horseman. Just go easy at the qualifiers. Go easy their first start. I'm not like that. I want them ready to go when they qualify, and I want them sure as hell ready their first start. So in that regard, Harry and I butt heads sometimes. But I'm not going to text Harry and say, make sure you qualify in 55. That defeats the whole purpose of hiring a professional if I'm just going to second guess and stick my thumb over top of everybody all the time. The one thing I do know about horse racing, there's a million different ways to train horses. And I'm not going to force the way I want horses trained onto people that we've hired to train. Harry wants to go easy the first week, qualify them probably 55, a horse like No Free Lunch, 55, 56 next week, and be ready for 53 in a piece his first start, knowing James, the way James drives, which is a perfect fit, Ebony and Ivory for Harry and James. Run him up the wood his first start and then cut him loose a little his second start. At that point, you're heading into stake season. Now stake season's about to begin. And that's the reality of what went on today. I wasn't surprised. I was surprised everybody emailed me, but that only makes me an idiot. Because if I knew it was going to happen and I didn't articulate it well enough to you and convey what we were doing well enough to you, then that's on me. That's not on Harry, James, or anybody else. That's on me. So I apologize if you were frustrated, upset, angry, perplexed about what took place today. It was no shock to me. I already knew that Adrenaline Rush was going to pace 58 or 59 because I spoke to Chris Rogers the night before and told him, do not go any faster than 58. There's no need of it. Just because he went in 56 last week does not mean he needs to go in 54 this week, 17 days before he can even race. And that's over 3 weeks, maybe a month before the first stake race, truth be told. There's tons of time. Tons of time. And I know it's frustrating, but I think if you take a deep breath, step back, and look at the situation, you'll understand that the expectations going into today were only heightened because we have been starved from being able to watch our horses race. So, I just got a message from Johnny saying, calling for 15 millimeters of rain tomorrow. Oh. Anyway. My apologies if anything went wrong today. It certainly wasn't on the track. The thing that went wrong was me not making sure that you were crystal clear about what we were trying to do. They will all qualify strongly next week, and they will head into the season. I'm not going to say that the trainers that qualified their horses fast or the drivers that did today were in the wrong, because I probably would have been one of them. That doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just a different way about going about your business. And it means nothing until they get behind the gate on race night. So, for those of you upset, I am sorry. I truly apologize. That is on me, not on you. Certainly not on you, and not on Harry or anybody else. That is my fault, my shortcoming. So, I do apologize. As I said, I wouldn't be concerned. We were on track to exactly what we were going to do. If I had brought No Free Lunch over here, I would have qualified him in 57, 58 at Northfield, and then had to come back again with a second one. It would have been no different. I just would have conveyed it to you differently. So, I am sorry. Things will move forward next week. There was no dropping the ball today. This is exactly what I expected. I just didn't do a good enough job bringing it to you. So, sorry. Jazzy Judy qualified great. She will be qualifying again next Thursday. I would suspect 58 for Jazzy Judy. And then if she does it the way I suspect she will, she may race a start at the Meadows possibly, before she heads to her staking June 16th at Harrington Raceway. Had a great conversation today with Jim King Jr. He told me that he was disappointed with West 52nd. He believes he knows what took place. This is a horse that has always faced challenges from allergies, and he said, he was trying to clear him up, coming off a little touch of the sickness. He turned him out, left him out the whole night heading into yesterday's race, and it backfired. I always wondered to myself, I often, if we had an opportunity and a place to turn them out, I always wanted to turn them out. So I would have done the same thing, I suppose. It just backfired. So Jim said, listen, Anthony, he is what he is. He can win the race he's in next week. Why don't we race him? And then if we want to send him somewhere, if you want to take him back or send him somewhere and put him in a claimer or whatever, then so be it. But he should win in that class next week. So that's what I want to hear, an honest synopsis of what took place, what went wrong, why it happened, and how we're going to correct it. So in that regard, Jim King, again, always a consummate professional. So worst case scenario, West 52nd races however he races next week. We move him. I was told last night they got a pretty cheap 20 claimer at Scioto. Might be a good place for him. Jazzy Judy will be heading that way, obviously, this week. And as far as I said, the Ontario Breds, they'll all be back next week. They'll qualify strongly next week and head into racing and staking season. Again, 1,000 apologies for the mix-up. There was no mix-up. It was me not conveying the proper information to you. So I am sorry. I will talk to you all soon. Aside from being a little let down, I hope you had a good day. Horses all come out of the qualifiers good from what I was told. And we'll be back at it tomorrow, by the sounds of things, in the mud. Take care.